what's up guys, this is Marcos and this channel is all about teaching you how to grow an audience and build your brand using video. So if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing down below. All right, so today I'm gonna actually go over 4 steps, guidelines, or tips that you should consider when you're creating stop motion. It's gonna help you make it much smoother and it's gonna look more professional. So let's get into it. Let me get up from here and we'll get started. All right, so stop motion. I would say stop motion is very similar to making time lapses, except you're controlling the shutter and you're controlling the movement. So everything is super controlled, as opposed to time lapses, you're letting nature tell you what's gonna happen. First of all, let me explain how stop motion works. It's basically a series of pictures, not video. You're not gonna be recording video. You're gonna be taking pictures and you're gonna put them together to create like a video effect. Let's get started with the first tip or guideline. And the first thing you should know is that there shouldn't be any movement. Once you start a time lapse, the camera should not move at all. That's why you wanna use a tripod or something, or put the camera where it's not gonna move. Like, actually, let me show you up top. All right, so here is my overhead rig. I'm actually not gonna use a tripod because I'm gonna be shooting up top. And I actually have a video on how I made this $4 overhead rig. It's pretty simple to make. I'm actually running a cable down to an external monitor. That way I can see what's going on whenever I take pictures. So that's the first thing. The second thing you need is here we go, this remote shutter control. I bought this on Amazon. I think it costs like $5. It's from Newer. I'll leave a link in the description, because once you start with the stop motion, you don't want anything to move. I'm going to set off the pictures, because it's going to be pictures with this remote. That way I don't accidentally, if I try to tap this button up here, I might move the camera. So there shouldn't be any movement at all. Okay, the second thing is you actually need artificial light. I wouldn't rely on the sun, because the sun shifts or there could be clouds outside and it could mess up the whole stop motion effect. So make sure you got continuous lighting. That way you can see what's down here, and it just makes it easier to set the exposure, which is the third tip, is that you should set all your settings to manual. Let's see if we can see them here. Here's my settings. Let me see if it can focus. I set the white balance. It's a manual focus. I don't want anything shifting. There's my foot. Actually, this is the settings set to video right now, but I actually use like a 1/20th shutter speed. The f-stop, you want it to be above 5, and it's not showing because the lens up top is a manual lens, but I had it at 5.6 actually. And that's important, because if you keep it too low, let's say below 5, then some things might be out of focus, and you don't want that. You want everything to be in focus. That's why you want to keep the f-stop above 5. Now the ISO, it depends on what you have. I'm shooting here at S-Log 2. That's why you have a ISO 800. But depending on the light you have, you know, the settings change. But just make sure everything is set to manual. All right, so the fourth thing you want to keep in mind is that whenever you're moving your objects, because you're going to be taking pictures, you want to make sure that you have continuous slow movement. So let's say I take a picture and then I move the camera bag, I take a picture. I want to make sure that the next movement, or the next time I move this object in this bag, it moves the same distance. I don't want to do a whole jump on the next picture, because it's going to look weird. You want to have constant movement, and I would say move about 1 inch or 2 inches for every time you move an object. Also, just don't go from here to closing the bag right away. I think you got to think about it like moving in slow motion, so everything has to feel like it's continuous. All right, so I talked about the 4 steps or guidelines that you need to follow. Make sure that there's no movement. Use a tripod, an overhead rig like I did, and also use a remote shutter, because you don't want to touch the camera at all. If you move the camera, it'll probably ruin the effect. Secondly, I said use manual settings. I try to keep the aperture above 5, just so everything's in focus, because let's say I have my camera bag, it's higher above ground than, let's say, like the Zoom H1 I had. So you want everything to be in focus. All the settings should be manual. And before I forget, I shoot in JPEG. You could shoot in RAW if you want, but JPEG makes it much easier for me to edit. Also, I shoot in 3x2 instead of 16:9, but if you know that you want to stop motion straight for video, maybe you want the 16:9 pictures, that way you can just take it into your editor and you're ready to go. But if you shoot in 3x2 ratio, you can always tweak it and zoom in, and it just gives you a little bit more flexibility. But I can see how 16:9 might be a better option if you just want to know what you're gonna get straight from the pictures and there's no guesswork. So yeah, I shot in 3x2, but I think next time I might shoot 16:9 because I know what I'm gonna get. However, if you want to, let's say, share your stop motion in social media like Instagram or somewhere, you might want to switch the ratios. So I think a 3x2 might be better. All right, also use continuous lighting like I have here. And then I said use slow continuous movement. Think about it like you're moving the objects in slow motion. Make sure if you move it an inch or 2 inches, the next time you take the picture, you also move it 2 inches. Every object has to look like it's continuously moving at the same rate. All right, so let's jump over to the computer and show you how to edit this thing. All right, so here we are in Final Cut Pro X. Actually, this is the project, the finished project, and I'm gonna show you how I made this. So first of all, let's start by making a new project. File, new project, and let's name this. Okay, so I'm assuming you already know how to import media. Here I have all the pictures I took. So if you select the first picture and then scroll all the way to the bottom, hold down the shift key and select the last picture, it'll select all of them. Now you can just drag them over to your timeline. We're gonna be playing around with the timing, and we're gonna start off by making every picture exactly 1 frame. So every picture is gonna hold for exactly 1 frame. And we do that by tapping Control D. And then you can press the number 1 to make every picture 1 frame. And let's see what happens. It creates a 3-second video, which is not, I think it's too fast. I want to make this a little bit longer. So again, let's select all of our pictures and click Control D, and let's make this 2 frames. Every picture is going to be hold for 2 frames. Click Enter. And now we have, as you can see here, a 6-second video. All right, so let me quickly explain how I took every picture and how I moved the objects. So here's one picture, and then I step in and I move the bag, as you can see there, a couple inches, and I step out and I use my wireless remote shutter to take another picture, and then I do it again and again, and I'm slowly creating movement. So that's the basic idea behind that continuous object movements. All right, so as you can see, here is a 3x2 aspect ratio. We're actually gonna have to zoom this in a little bit. First of all, let me play this and see how it looks. See if I like it. I like that speed. I think that looks really good. And actually, I already know this. I wanted to make every picture 2 frames because I played around with it when I made every picture 1 frame. Let me do that. Control D. We're gonna make every picture 1 frame by Control D, then plus, and hit the number 1. Enter. Now you can see the video is 3 seconds, and we play this. I think it's too fast. I'd rather make this whole video, make each picture hold for 2 frames. So Control D, the number 2, makes it the whole video 6 seconds, and I think it looks better. So now that we have all our pictures selected, now you want to group them together. So you right click and make a new compound clip. So it's going to group them together. Select OK. Now they're together. Now I can go ahead and edit this. I'm going to zoom in and make a couple changes. First of all, I'm going to scale this up. I want to just look at the yellow background I had. There we go. And I think that's a good framing. I can always change it. Let me zoom out of this and select this transform button. And I can always move this whole framing down. I think that would look good right there. Hit done. And let's zoom back in, fit. Let's play this. Let's look at the framing. Okay, so you can go ahead and play around with it. I actually did some color grading. Let me quickly show you. You can apply some color grade. Actually, I'm just gonna link to some videos because it's gonna take a while for me to show you how I color grade it. So basically, that's the whole idea on how to create a stop motion. If you're gonna color grade this, just drop, first of all, group them together. That way you apply the effects to the whole pictures as a whole. That way you can just drop your colors, let's say like the color wheels, drop it in here, and now you're gonna change the color of every picture. So let me know if I wasn't clear about anything, or if I didn't answer any questions. I'll be happy to answer them. As always, guys, thank you for watching. And before I leave, if you haven't already subscribed, please go ahead and do so, because I'm making videos like this every week. All right, see you in the next one.